Man, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of EOS. It's 1090 Jake, man. I'm rocking with y'all rocking with me. And for this video, we're going to be speaking on a rapper who allegedly committed a drive-by, missing all of his ops, and hitting a 9-year-old girl in the head. May 15th, 2021. A group of kids was celebrating a birthday behind a home on Lyon Ave on the north side of Minneapolis. Towards the front of the home, a group of young men were gathered on the porch. That's when a vehicle drove by and someone inside started firing out the window at the three men. The car was driving off as one of the men from the porch began firing back at the vehicle, while the rest of those at the home began processing what had just happened when someone made a horrific discovery. Visible through the side alley of the house was the pool and trampoline, as can be seen on Google Earth. When the gunfire erupted, 3 kids had been jumping inside of the trampoline, and one of them now laid bleeding. Officers responded just after 8:30 at night to a shot spotter activation. Arriving on scene, they found a 9-year-old girl named Trinity who'd been shot in the head. She was unresponsive, but still alive, and transported to a nearby hospital. Investigators would soon discover the entire shooting was captured on video. One of the 3 men from the porch could be seen chasing after the vehicle and firing his weapon 3 times. Searching the exact location he can be seen firing, investigators would find 3 spent 9mm shell casings. Using license plate reader technology, the drive-by vehicle was determined to be a 2014 Ford Fusion and had just been bought 3 days before the shooting. Speaking with the previous owner, who investigators left unnamed, he'd informed them the vehicle was purchased by an 18-year-old man named Dupree Robinson, who specifically told him not to tell anyone he bought it. Providing a cell phone number, investigators were able to retrieve a search warrant for Dupree's cell phone GPS coordinates, determining his phone was in the same location as the vehicle seen during the murder, as 9-year-old Trinity died in the hospital 12 days after she'd been shot. Social media accounts for Dupree would reveal he went by the rap name Lil Dunk. He was a self-proclaimed shooter for the Black Disciples and referred to himself as GDK, a gangster disciple killer. A subsequent investigation revealed 3 months before the murder, Dunk had been sending threatening messages to one of the males who lived at the house on Lion Street where the drive-by occurred. Only identified by the initials WJ, according to witnesses, he was present at the house when the shooting happened. Messages from Dunk would read, "Pop out," and WJ would respond by saying, "I'm always outside, you gon' see me, stop texting me like my bitch." Investigators would learn Dunk had previously been in a relationship with WJ's sister, and 3 days before the shooting she had accused him of cheating and lying. Further digging into Dunk's cell phone history would reveal 30 minutes after the drive-by shooting, Dunk searched 3 times on Google how to change the paint on a 2014 Ford Fusion. The phone would never be used again, and the Ford Fusion would also vanish, never to be seen again after the shooting. Investigators determined the homeowner where the shooting occurred was being deceptive, as was WJ, the man Dunk had been sending threats to. It turns out WJ and his associates were a part of a local gang called MCD, or Money Chasing Demons. Another man who was present at the home the day of the shooting would be arrested 5 months later, and a 9mm handgun would be recovered. Ballistics from the weapon would match the 3 shell casings left at the scene of the drive-by, but police weren't able to determine if he or someone else was the one that fired back at the vehicle. Dunk's Facebook would be next in line for a search warrant, revealing a conversation he had with his girlfriend a month after the drive-by. She was upset after a physical altercation where Dunk broke her phone and repeatedly, 8 times to be exact, made reference to or directly called Dunk a child killer, at one point saying, "I hope you die for killing that little girl." The murder of 9-year-old Tiffany would be at a standstill for the next 9 months until February of 2022. That's when investigators spoke with a witness who was a documented associate of Dunk, who heard Dunk admit to being present at the murder. He told detectives Dunk told him he'd been in a shootout with the Opps, The next day, he saw on the news the little girl had been shot in the head, but he wasn't sure if he shot her or if they did. Investigators reviewed the video of the shooting again, paying close attention to the audio. 9-year-old Tiffany could be seen being shot before the 3 gunshots that were fired back at the vehicle, determining it was somebody inside of the vehicle who fired the fatal shot. With this new information, a warrant went out for Dunk, charging him with 1 count of intentional second-degree murder, but the warrant was to be kept sealed until his arrest so the news wouldn't tip him off and cause him to run. February 23, 2022, Dunk was arrested at his home and transported to the county jail. He remains in the county jail at this time, facing up to 40 years in state prison. Now, this is a sad case where someone was intentionally shooting at somebody and unintentionally shot someone else. They're pinning it all on Dunk. I feel like Dunk isn't the only one involved since this was a drive-by. I don't know too many people that drive by and shoot at the same time. There's usually more than one person. And you know, to hear that it was almost a year until his arrest, that isn't just because Dunk and Dunk's people aren't talking. That's because nobody at that home was talking. Meaning the little girl, the people she was around, the parents of those people, the older brothers, the older sisters, nobody was really saying shit from what it sounds like. Because had someone spoke up, they would have known who did what. And I can't imagine being a parent, something happens to my daughter, and nobody that was there is saying anything. Even if they're not saying it to the police, say it to me. Let me know what really happened. Let me know who's into it with who. That just, I don't know, it sounds crazy. But then, 9 months down the line, one of Dunk's homies snitch on him. For whatever reason, most likely that witness got caught up in the case himself. And he's like, hey, you know what? I can throw him under the bus and maybe this shit'll make me look good, whatever it is. It's always a cutthroat situation like that where somebody's trying to benefit off of someone else. But to hear that a 9-year-old girl was shot, and apparently she was one of 3 kids all shot in the fucking head in a short span within that city. And then not only that, but to hear that this kid had a girlfriend who's calling him a child killer only after he broke her phone. Like what, up until that point you were cool with him, but once he breaks your fucking phone, now he's the child killer? It sounds wild. He just threw away his whole life beefing with some other motherfucker. And it was probably on some gang shit, but the way the paperwork is making it sound is as if it had something to do with him breaking up with his ex-girlfriend, who was the sister of one of the dudes he allegedly shot at. Now, I don't know how this isn't a premeditated murder, because I would assume any drive-by is premeditated. People don't normally just end up in their ops hood, driving past their ops house and say, oh, he's right there, might as well just shoot. You know, people usually have it set in their mind like, yo, we're gonna slide over here and handle business. I'm not sure how this wasn't premeditated. It's just a fucking shame that this shit happened. 9-year-old little girl shot in the fucking head on a trampoline with 2 other kids in there bouncing with her as she's bleeding out. And there's nothing you can really say on a gang tip that can justify this. Like, hey, it happens. It shouldn't happen. And there shouldn't be an excuse for it. But hey, it's 1090 Jake. Rest in peace to that little girl. I'm rocking with y'all, y'all rocking with me. Till next time.